This first speaker, you guys have already met a little bit, had a chance to get to know a little bit. About 10 years ago, it was the first time I really hired a life coach. And I hired this guy, and to be honest, I didn't love it. And Tony Robbins was always my guy. I was like, Tony Robbins. And so I finally just signed up for his one-on-one coaching, and they sent me a dude, and our first call, honestly, was pretty shitty again. And I was kind of just like, not my guy again. And so I called the organization. I just said, I don't like this guy. I want to quit. I want to cancel my membership. And they put you on with the it goes to the next person that's supposed to keep you from canceling your membership. I was pretty adamant that I was canceling because this guy kind of sucked. And they're like, well, what if we give you one of our best coaches? We have these platinum coaches. There's only a couple of them, but they handle all of our best clients. Why don't you have a talk with her and see how it goes? And I was like, with her? I don't know about that. And next thing I knew, I was on a call with Melissa and having a life-changing experience. And I always had a rule that after 1 year, I would change coaches because I didn't want it to get stale. A lot of coaching relationships turn into a friendship, those one-on-one coaching sessions. And I just didn't want it to become that. I had real estate coaches, and I'd kind of seen that happen. And with Melissa, it just never did. There was always, I was growing a lot, and she was helping me get to where I was trying to go. And so 8 years later, was still my coach. And when I launched this program, we were doing our coaching call shortly after I opened it, and she's just yelling at me. She's like, dude, the wives and girlfriends need to be on board. You got to do a women's group. And I'm like, I don't know shit about coaching women. I don't know what to tell you. And she gave me the idea. She said, well, maybe just do one free event and see how you like it. I was like, you know what? That's actually a good idea. So I invited, I think 30, 35 of the women came, and it was beautiful. I loved it. And also knew that I wasn't the one that's supposed to do it. And so I brought Melissa in. We figured out a way to be able to afford her and bring her in to coach the women, to start the Queen's Edition. And ever since, she's been a part of this. And it's been life-changing for the families, for the people that are part of We Are the They. So without further introduction, I'm so excited to bring to the stage my coach and your coach. Let's give it up for Melissa.
This is such a dream come true in so many different ways. Like Jimmy said, I've had the opportunity to be in Jimmy's rodeo for about 8 to 9 years. And when we started coaching, it's really interesting because I fall in love with my clients. And that not in a bad way. But the thing that was really fun with Jimmy is that we resonated together. We have very similar disc profiles. We have similar ways that we communicate. And over time, what was really beautiful was that I got to be a witness to the man you get to see today. It didn't start out that way. He might tell you differently, but it didn't. And his family knows too. So what you get to see is Jimmy after years of focused, intentional work on being the best man that he could be. Is he perfect? No, he'll tell you he's not perfect. And I guarantee I'm definitely not perfect, so just a couple things you should know about me. The people who've heard me speak before know I always apologize in advance. I swear like a sailor. If you have a problem with that, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to freaking get over it, because it's just how I work, and if I have to slow down to think about it, I lose my train of thought. So it's part of how I'm wired. Second thing you should know is I'm also a very raw communicator. I talk about really kind of some intense stuff. And so for some of you that are going to be in the audience today, it may trigger some of the things that have happened in your life. And for some of you, I can almost guarantee that somewhere in this time today, you're going to cry. And I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I really encourage you, if something comes up that you're feeling that's painful, let it out. Because one of the things I experienced this morning in the Krav Maga class that we did was very surreal. Because I do all this personal development work, and the guys have heard my story, and some of the women have heard my story. I'm going to do a real brief overview for those that don't know me. I started in coaching about 25 years ago. And how I got to coaching was that I got diagnosed with MS. And when that took place, I became suicidal. And for a high D to be told you have a disease that you cannot control, and when the medical community tells you you might as well just go to bed, you're pretty much over, I got pissed. God and I had a Mexican standoff, and I was not going to relent my anger because I was angry. It didn't seem right that as I finally started to get my life to where I could have a life, I get hit with this weird disease and 18 different drugs and all kinds of other shit that goes on with it. So my son, my oldest son at the time, was in coaching sales. And some of you guys have met Brooke. He's a rock star. And he knew that I was suicidal. And he was working for a coaching company at the time. And he paid for me to go to this event. He bought me a ticket. And it was an expensive ticket. And so when your kids buy you stuff, you go, even if it's underwater basket weaving, you show up because they paid for it. And so to honor him, even though everything in my body said don't go, I went. And it was during that event that they announced the theme at opening night. And Brooke didn't even know what the theme was, but he wanted me in the room. And I show up with 7,000 people. I'm a train wreck. I want to die. I don't want to be here. I'm mad at everybody, God, and life. But I go. And the theme that year was called How to Live Like You're Dying, based on Tim McGraw's song. Brooke had no idea, but God knew. And during that event, it was a 5-day event. I sobbed through the whole thing. But by the end, I knew that God had a calling on my life and that I was going to become a coach. So I did. I became a coach for that company. I coached for them for 8 years, went to work for Tony Robbins because Brooke moved on to work for his bucket list, and he became an executive with Tony. And I went to work with him and Tony for about 8, 9 years, and that's where I met Jimmy. Now, through all of that, part of what I want to share with you today kind of has come out of my own personal journey. And a couple other kind of big things happened in my life that were very pivotal. I've been married more than once. In fact, I've been married 3 times. I was the girl that never wanted to be married. My parents were never legally married. I came from a very eccentric family. My mom came to the US for the Miss Universe pageant. She was Miss Norway. And my dad was a savant. He was an entrepreneur. He was a real estate developer. He was the head photographer for Walt Disney. He's just kind of a random dude. But they should never have had kids. They were alcoholics, they were narcissists, and basically I raised myself. And I raised my brothers. And through that, I became a very angry human, which is also why I believe I got MS. But fast forward, I become a coach. I'm now on my 2nd marriage. Husband number 2 decided that cheating on me was just a profession he wanted to pursue. So for 10 years, he cheated on me in the hometown I grew up in, with everybody in town knowing except me. He had a checklist for all the people that he slept with on the tables in the restaurant and bar where he worked. It was a game he and this other guy had. Everybody knew, except me. So that almost took me out, and kind of recovered through that, and then fell in love and got reintroduced to a new guy and fell madly in love, and we were together 25 years. And in 2019, he went to the doctor, and we thought he had throat cancer. He was sick, couldn't keep food down, couldn't sleep. He'd lost about 50 pounds pretty fast. And long story short, we were in the doctor's office, and I had a suspicion of what it was based on something the doctor had said prior to. But while I was sitting in the office with him, the doctor didn't want me to go in with him, which was kind of a tell. And I said, no, I'm going in. And he looked at Bob and he goes, you really don't want that. And Bob goes, oh, no, it's fine. But he didn't know what he had. I did. And so while we're sitting there, the doctor basically opened his file and said, I want to let you know that you currently have hepatitis C, and your white blood count is so low that I'm ready to hospitalize you. You're almost on the verge of full-blown AIDS. And he said, how long have you been sleeping with men? And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, he has no idea. And in that moment, everything in my life collided in that one existential experience, and I had to decide who I was going to be in that moment. In the past, I was the scorched earth girl. I pulled a shotgun on my 2nd husband when I found out he cheated on me. I'm kind of a Looney Tune when it comes to violating and betraying me back at that point in my life. And so this time I didn't want to do that. This time I wanted to deal with this from a position of compassion and love for myself and for him. Because I do believe he loved me. I do believe he still loves me. But I also believe that he had some really bizarre ideas on what that looked like. So fast track, I end up moving to Colorado, and then Jimmy and I start doing this little thing together, and I lost one husband, but I got 150 men that I adore. So there is nothing than being in this room. Now, and the second thing I wanted to share with you, not only did I get 150 plus men, but I also got daughters. And I don't have any, but I have all of you. So I want to invite all the queens to stand up. Every woman in the room, I need you to stand up. Guys, give these ladies a round, man. Let them hear you. There you go. These queens, you guys can go ahead and sit down. Thank you. When Jimmy and I were talking about this, I knew from my own personal experience and also coaching for so long that if you have either partner doing a fast track to growth and the other partner doesn't join you on the ride, there is going to be, it's almost unavoidable, but there will be a pinnacle where you will disconnect. And so in the pursuit of building this group, one of the things we wanted is we didn't just want We Are the They for men. We wanted We Are the They for their queens. And now we're the they for the humanity that we are here to serve. So I want to honor all of you. 1, for being here. 2, for bringing your partners, for encouraging your friends to be here. Because I'll be honest, I have not seen anything like this on the planet. And you are in a very unique space and time because I do believe this movement will go global. So why I'm here today, though, is I want to talk to you about some of the things that came up in my life, but I know also from coaching many, many of you in the room, is the problem of comparison. How many of you guys compare yourselves to somebody? Compare your cars. You guys have a lot of bitchin' cars, by the way, in Utah. Don't know why, because you have so much snow, but okay, you get to go 5 miles an hour on the ice. But you have a lot of cars. How many people compare your body style? Women, come on, be honest. How many compare that you have hair and I don't? Everybody in this room, well, you know, you're my favorite bald guy. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is it's a universal human problem. It's a human condition. And so the first thing I want to share with you is the pain of comparison. Comparison, although we've been born to compare from birth, shit, my kid's got, what was your APGAR score? My son's APGAR score was a 10. Mine was only a 7. Your kid's on the 1% on the weight chart. My kid's only on the 10% on the weight chart. From birth, we have been groomed to compare. Now, there's good and bad, just like with everything in life. There's light and dark, there's good and bad. And so we're going to start with the pain of comparison. I'm going to invite you guys to get out your notebooks because you're going to want to take notes. I also want the music guy to know I'm going to need some journaling music in a few minutes. So I'll need about 3 minutes slow music for journaling if you guys could tee that up, please. So what I want you to start with is I'd like to invite you to close your eyes. Like I said, there's going to be crying, so don't worry, but nobody's going to see you. And I want you to think about the number one person in your life that you can consistently compare yourself to. Could be a business partner, could be a sibling. Some people even compare it with their parents. But I want you to think about, get a visual on the person, the number one person in your life that you look to and you always evaluate yourself against the measure of who they are. I want you to sit with it for a second. I'm going to have you guys tee up the music, please, the journaling music. And I want to invite you to write down 10 things that you admire about that person. Whether it's their character qualities, could be their bank account, could be the size of their house, their car. It could be how many kids they have if you don't have kids. It could be that they have a better husband than you do. Maybe you don't even have a husband. Somebody might have snuck in here that doesn't have a boyfriend in the room. But I want you to think about what do you admire most about them? And you're going to look for 10 plus things. I'm going to invite you, as soon as you know what those things are, to please open your eyes and write them down on your page. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do this. When we compare, and I know you guys have heard this about social media, when you look at Facebook and Instagram and all of that, it's been one of the biggest detriments to human society from the standpoint of comparison. Yes, it's great for business, I understand that, but from the standpoint of human psyche, the problem that we've had with social media is that we've taught people to play their highlight reels, and we look at it thinking it with fact, we base it on fact, we see it, look at how wonderful the life is, and we're comparing it against our shit show. And so it's not apples and oranges, but in that space of disconnect, what starts to happen is that we start to beat ourselves up as we compare. How many of you guys feel better when you compare yourself to somebody? Some of you might. Some of you worked hard on your bodies, you feel like a rock star, and you look at somebody else and they go, wow, he's a little chubby, he needs to lose some weight. Not many people do that though. Most people use comparison to evaluate against their flaws, their weaknesses, and their lack of strengths. And it's really damaging to society overall, because what we've done is we've basically slapped God in the face. And we've said, and I don't know what your beliefs might be, mine are pretty, you'll get by the end, you'll know what I believe in, but I believe that when I compare myself to somebody else over and over, and it starts to move me away from who I am, the highest version of who I am, I'm basically telling God he screwed up. And so every time you look at another human being and you weigh yourself badly against it, and you go, wow, I'm not as good as they are, in that moment, you hurt God's heart. Because every single person in this room is divine. I believe you were divinely created. There's not another one of you ever to walk the face of the earth ever again. That is ridiculous numbers, and I'm not a mathematician, but the odds of that are simply astounding. So based on that reality that we are these unique divine creations, we have to embrace that and stop punishing ourselves for who we think we're not. And so one of the things that came up for me through all these different things that happened in my life is that I lived my life a lot in comparison. My family was nuts. My parents were never married. We moved 12 times in 1 year. My dad decided he wanted to go seek God, and so he put everything in storage, and we went and lived in the mountains. If anybody's seen Captain Fantastic, that was my family. My mom hated it, so she drank the whole time, or she would get stoned, and we basically we did what we wanted. I mean, we were talking about the other day, I was 14, my brothers were 9 and 8, and my dad, like I said, he was pretty nuts, but we each had our own backpack. We packed it up, and we hiked into the upper Sierras, just the three of us kids, alone, unsupervised, for 3 days. Now, I don't know, I'm a parent now, and I'm kind of like, holy crap, who would do that? But that's how our life was wired. And so I compared my life against all my friends in school, and I thought all of them had the Ozzie and Harriet thing. We were talking about TV shows, Jesse loves I Love Lucy. I wanted the Brady Bunch. I wanted that family dynamic where mom and dad looked like normal and they did these cute things and the kids all they fight, but they got together and everybody kissed and made up and they lived in the same house and everybody wore cute clothes. That wasn't my life. And so I would look at my friends and I would base my self-esteem against their world, thinking their world was great. And it was crazy because we've gotten, I'm a long time out of high school now, but I see a lot of my friends, a lot of their worlds were way worse than mine, and I had no idea. And I beat myself up for years thinking that I was on the bad end of that, but their situation was even worse than mine. And so my criteria under which I was determining my self-worth was wrong. It wasn't accurate. The only self-worth we should be basing our identities on is who we're created to be, not somebody else. I love Jessie, my BFF's in the house. A lot of the ladies know her. She'll be speaking at the Queen's Edition. She's my partner in crime. She's my ride or die girl. And she knows I'm not perfect. And so I also have massive appreciation for her, but I also have to stay out of envy too, in comparison. Shit, she looks amazing. She can do a Spartan race with a broken arm. I've never seen a woman she has more grit than anybody I know. And I'm not that good. I don't like to work out that much. I have MS. It's not my favorite thing to do. Plus, I'm old and I don't like to do it. But I have admiration for her. But the minute I look at her and I make me wrong, not only do I rob myself and I rob God, but I rob her. And so in the energetic space, comparison is not a good thing if you don't know how to manage it. And again, we have a society that taught us that's what we do. It's why we have scoreboards. It's why we have, polls. It's why we have scales and measuring tools. But if we stay there too long, and if we use it to do damage to who we are, if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, you need to really find out why. Because you're divine. If you look in the mirror under the precept that you were created by God, there's only one of you. You are the only one that will ever be like you ever again. You should see a miracle every time you look in the mirror. whether you have hair or you're 20 pounds overweight or you're too short or you're too tall. So the pain in comparison is not worth the price of admission. It's just not. And so I want you to really be aware of when you do it. Feel it in your gut and go, shit, I'm comparing to them. Am I feeling okay about myself or am I feeling really lousy? If you're lousy, call it right there and go, wait, I have to check in right now. I have to do something different. And we're going to get to that. I'll get you to the process at the end. Now, there's also beauty in comparison if you use it right. That's why we need to compare. If I want to lose weight and I don't know how much I weigh, it's really hard to know how much I need to lose. And there's a quote, you guys probably all heard it, you cannot grow what you can't measure. So yeah, we need measuring tools. But measuring tools should not define my identity. All they are is to show me that I need to lose 10 pounds. That's not a judgment on who I am. It's just 10 fucking pounds. If we don't learn how to get healthy tools to compare, ultimately over time, you'll self-destruct. I know there are people in this room that cut themselves. I know there are people in this room that when nobody's looking and they're in their moment of pain, they hit and hurt themselves. I know there are people in this room that will overdrink because by comparison, they don't think they're measuring up. There are people in this room that do drugs because they don't measure up. There have been more wars started because of comparison and envy than any other cause in humanity. In the name of God, in the name of greed, and in the name of control. But it's all comparison. They want what they don't have. And it's going to continue. And the reason it's important in this room is because you guys are lightning rods in society. You are here for a very important reason. And it's not just to be bros, just so you know. You're here because the world needs you. They need someone to stand in the space and say, dude, you don't have to compare to me. You're unique in your own way. I love this guy right here. I can't be him. He's really tall. But if I compare myself to him, I now make him wrong and I make me wrong. So in that process of society, you want to be aware of these things and understand it's out there, but you're needed. And so the beauty of comparison is when you start comparing your gifts against other people's gifts. If you want to compare, I challenge you to stop comparing what you think is wrong and start seeing what's right. Because every single one of you have an amazing set of gifts. You're going to use your notebook again. Because I'm going to invite you. We're going to have some more. Thank you for keeping the Debbie prayer playing. I love that. I'm going to give you another 3 minutes. And I'm going to want you guys to close your eyes again. And some of you guys that have been in WOD a long time, you have your badass list. You can pull it from memory, so it'll be faster for you. But for the guests, I want to invite you guys to sit for a few minutes and really think about who you are. Uniquely you. You're not your sister, you're not your best friend, you're not kids in school or people at work. What makes you, you? Could be your sense of humor. Could be your bitchin' beard. Some people in this room are rocking a really sporting beard right now. And Thor hair too. But I want you to close your eyes, so go ahead. You guys close your eyes. And take a minute. And I want you to really, really think about the things that you are proud of that make you you. Are you funny? Do you have a great sense of humor? Are you compassionate when other people can't find compassion? Are you a hard worker? Are you relentless? Are you forgiving? What have other people said about you that they love about you? The people that care about you most, that see you. What do they have to say about you? And as you're thinking about it, I want you to celebrate those qualities that are uniquely you. There's no one else in this room that has the same collection of qualities. And then I want you to write them down. See if you can get to 10. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do that. How many of you guys had a hard time finding your qualities? I'm just curious. Anybody? Thank you for being honest. I really struggled with this when I did this exercise the first time. And it was really disappointing. I'm like, wow, I can't find anything good about me. That kind of sucks. But it also shows us what we focus our time and attention on. So I want to honor everybody that could access their qualities. It's really, really important because we spend more time looking at what we're missing and what's wrong. We spend more time on how we don't have enough or we need to get to these big goals. And I believe in goals, but I don't believe in goals at the sacrifice of my identity and my divinity. So in that space of writing those things down about yourself, I want you to really think about how they compare to the person you admire. Did any of you guys see similarities? Anybody see anything similar in what you loved about somebody else, or you were envying of somebody else, or you're comparing? Awesome. We all have them all. It's not like we all get one little load of tools of character qualities. You guys have access to them all. But we spend more time in life looking for what's missing, and we do that in the nature of looking at what somebody else has. And so the power of comparison is when we can start looking in the mirror at our list and celebrating that first, and not asking, how am I missing something, but how do I grow what I have? We don't need to always spend so much time on our weaknesses. We really need to start looking at our strengths and honing those. Make those bigger, make them better, make them expand. Because the more you hone and strengthen your strengths, your weaknesses just kind of come along and they stop being such a big undercurrent in your world. So focus on your strengths. If you want to get better at not comparing, look in the mirror and give thanks for who you are. Celebrate that first. If you want to start, like you want to lose weight, I totally get it. Step on the scale. I'm a freak about a scale. I have to take it out of my bathroom because I'm just so anal about every little ounce. But I had to do that because I started comparing myself to other people who were losing all kinds of weight. And then I would beat myself up. And I'd hate myself all day. Every woman in here knows what it's like to get dressed in the morning when you hate your body. It's horrible. I know there's men in this room that feel the same way. And so it's learning to accept the areas of our life we want to improve and honor that that's all it is. It's just improvement. It's not a character deficit to want to grow. It's also not a character deficit to not have a lot of money right now or to have more money than your friends. But we make it wrong. We tell ourselves we have to hide. There are a lot of people in this room that are playing small, not because they're afraid of not having what they need, but they're afraid of showing people who they are. And this was a really big deal in my world when I went through this last divorce. I had to decide, am I going to hide? Am I going to collapse and go, wow, he's right, I'm a loser, 3-time loser. 3 men can't figure out how to love me. And I recognized it wasn't my loss, it was theirs. Because I am amazing. God did create me. I am divine, and I am deserving of great love. And so in that space, I had to stop comparing to other people, and I had to see who I am for who I am. At my rawest, at my realest, at my ugliest. And I'm still fucking amazing, and so are you. So in this space of comparison, as you guys are all in this synergy together, as you all go to the meetings and you show up in the groups and all of that, I want you to start going not with that lens of, wow, God, I wish I was more like him. God, I wish I had more money. Look at how much business he's doing. I want you to look at him and go, God, isn't that awesome? What is he doing, and who could I need to be to do that? What strengths do I have that I need to hone and strengthen? To be more, to elevate to that level. And celebrate it, don't make you wrong. It's in that make wrong that we rob ourselves of our greatest power. And so the beauty of comparison is knowing the difference between the pain of what we get and also how to access the power. And on the other side of comparison, the place where you will find your most freedom is not comparing to anybody else. The only person you should ever compare to is your higher self, your highest identity. And that's that list you guys just wrote down. And you need to add 10, 20 more character qualities you know is in there that you're not focusing on because you're looking at somebody else over here, Adrian, who's got better shoes or a bitchin' car. You don't want to compare there. That's just stuff. It's just stuff. And we were talking about something, I don't know why I'm going to throw it in here, but it needs to be in here for some reason. But we were talking about when you become single. When I got single, I had girlfriends who were like, no, don't go for go for a cute guy. Go marry for money. You need money. Marry for money. They're no longer really my friends anymore, just so you guys know. But it did come up, and there are people that believe that. There are people in my age that believe that they need to marry for security. So they're going to go look for a dude with money. You know what happens? Recessions happen. Heart attacks happen. Bad business deals happen. You know what? If you marry for money and not for character, you're left with an asshole and nothing else. So don't marry for money. When you're looking at who you want to be with and who you want to become, look for character. That's why Jimmy has based this on character and on integrity. It's what's missing in society. We've given up on making character the number one goal. We've started comparing the biggest amount of bullshit in my lifetime. I can't even believe what they've done to society today. They've pitted you family against family, brother against sister. And the laws of comparison are destroying our country. That's why we need you. We need you to own who you are in your purest divinity, in your highest identity, because we need somebody to take a stand and say, no, you're fucking beautiful. I don't care what you believe, you're still beautiful. I don't care what your politics are, you're beautiful. But they're using it against us. We have to be smarter than they are. And so when you're looking to get empowered, when you're looking to access the best part of who you are, stop comparing against your brother. Start comparing against your identity, who God created you to be. Compare to who you are on this planet to grow into. We start with we start out pure. It's through life that we build the baggage of comparison. When you're born, you're perfect. God designs us to be perfect. It's what we listen to in society and the damage that's done that we start to build this wound, that we learn to live in and make ourselves wrong. And so in this beautiful space, in this incredible meeting of incredible people, I want you to start seeing every single one, when you look at them, through the lens of absolute, pure appreciation for their own unique identity and that you're not them. Stop wanting to be somebody else. You're not here to be anybody but who you are. And so in your higher purpose, it's the best version of you. It's those versions you want to aspire to. It's not going and cheating on your wife. It's not lying to your partner, your business partner. It's not being resentful that something bad happened to you. It's really looking at the best version of who you are, those pieces of you that are the pieces we need. Build those. Look for ways to enhance those. I guarantee you, if you do that, money will come. Money is a byproduct of your energy. That's all it is. And so you want to focus on the character, and you want to focus on your heart. You want to focus on the ways to take that beautiful heart of yours and not allow anybody to rob you of your own uniqueness. And so in this process, it's a really challenging thing. I just want to kind of put a bug in your ear that when you go down that road, when you look at each other and you compare bank accounts and all this other stuff, I want you to slap yourself and hear my voice. Say, no, that's not worth the compare. Compare to who you are. You want to be a good dude? Be a better dude. You want to be beautiful? Go see your heart. You want to improve? Yeah, eat healthy. I get all that. You guys don't need me to tell you go get a diet. I mean, it's the dumbest conversation. I don't need to have it with you. But what I want to have with you is who you want to become. What is the highest version of who you are here to be? You find that, your children will have role models they will aspire to. You do that, and they'll stop comparing themselves on the playground. There are a lot of people in this room that got bullied. How many people in this room were bullied? How many of your kids have been bullied? I have a 6'2" son who's a bodybuilder who got the shit beat out of him by football players. Do you want to know why? Because he didn't judge anybody. He loved everyone on campus. He didn't care if they were gay, if they were trans, if they were whatever. Chance is just one of those kids, he looks for the perfection in each person, and they beat him up for it. So they taught him that his unique divinity was stupid, and it was ugly, and he didn't deserve to be here. So 3 years ago, he tried to kill himself. That's what comparison does. You want a beauty of comparison? You keep teaching your kids that they're not as good as the kid that got the A. That's the problem. They're perfect if they get a frickin' F. Yes, they need to learn the process, but they don't need to be judged for it. We want to celebrate their unique divinity, and we want to empower them to be the people that are coming up behind us that are going to take care of us in the nursing home, by the way, just so you know. So this is all kind of a weaving of things. This is a dance we get to do, and it's the beauty and it's the tapestry of this room that fires me up. It's really surprising I haven't burst out in tears because I'm standing up here and I just am like blown away at the magnificence in this room. Each and every one of you are so powerful and you're so perfect, not in the perfection sense of the word, but in the unique divinity of why you're here. And so I'm going to do a quick little exercise. I'm going to tap out on time. But I just want to invite you guys to really stop looking at what's missing in the basis of what somebody else has and start looking at what's already there. That's where you need to grow. Grow those gifts. Grow those aspects of who you are, those things that you thought nobody was paying attention to, or your mom told you, you're never going to be a success. You're never going to be thin. You're never going to be this. You're never going to be that. Don't listen to her. She may have given birth to you, but I had a newsflash. She's not God. That's a unique thing. She got to be the vessel, that's all. I didn't have a good relationship with my mom, but you know what? I can love her for bringing me here. I can love her for showing me what I didn't want to do. And I can also look at me and I can also give thanks for who I am in spite of what she wasn't. So I can compare to her, but I still wrap it around and give thanks for who I am, because that's why I'm here. So one more last thing. I'm going to have you guys close your eyes. It's the last time. Sorry, this is a little rush, you guys, but we're going to still do it anyway. So please close your eyes. I'd like you to take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. One more. Last one, in. If you'll bring that prayer up again for me, please. As you're sitting there and you've reflected on the list of the person you admire, I want you to really focus on the list of the qualities that are there about you and the ones that you saw in them that you want to incorporate into your life. And as you're standing in this vision of yourself, I'm going to ask you to visualize yourself standing in a field. And you're there, the wind's blowing on your face. It's a warm day. You can smell the grass, hear the moths and the bees buzzing. And as you're standing there, kind of reflecting on the beauty of who you are, it feels a little uncomfortable. I don't know if I should say it out loud. Am I really that good? Man, I shouldn't say that. Somebody might hear it and think I'm lying. I want you to start feeling it and owning it, embracing it. What if this was really me? What if I enhanced all of it? What would that make me become? And as you're there, you kind of look across the field and you see a little boy or a little girl playing about 30 feet away. And you can see them. They're squatting down and they're kind of sad. They're all alone. And you can sense that they're in some form of pain. And as you look at them, they kind of look familiar. You look at them closer and you realize it's who you were when you were 5, 6, 12 years old. And how you felt less than the friends on the field or in the neighborhood. How you wished you had different parents. How you wished you might have been taller or faster or prettier. And I want you to walk up to that little child that's you. And I want you to keep looking at them as you're walking up to them, and I want you to see their pain. I want you to feel the times you felt less than who you were. I want you to remember those times that you felt invisible or unseen in a crowd. For all the shy ones in the room, I want you to recognize that you are seen by this individual that's approaching you. And as you get close, I want you to squat down in front of them like you would your own child or a sibling or a little kid on the playground. And I want you to hold their face in your hands. And I want you to tell them what they need to hear, what the adult version of you wished that they had heard. Tell that inner child what was missing in your life. Tell them how strong they're going to become. Remind them of how beautiful their hearts are. Remind them that God put them here for a big purpose. Hold them. Let them know that they are uniquely divine and that you see them and that you got them. And let them know that in this moment they are whole and they are complete, and that you will take care of them by honoring every gift that they have. Good, beautiful, perfect, funny, smart, strong. Tell them that that's who they're going to be as they get older, and let them know they're going to become the best version of who they are. And you assure them that you're going to make it happen. Hug them close and let them know that you've got them. And I invite you to take one last deep breath. Come back into the room. You can open your eyes. When you walk out of here this weekend, if you walk out with just one thing, it's that you are divine. You are here for a reason. You're not here in this room by mistake. I don't believe that any one person is here by mistake. You were supposed to be here because you need to go out and show the world who they need to become by being the best, highest version of who you are. And I want to thank you for letting me share this with you today.